Architects is an A+ honor student, so if he brings his test home with a B on it, you're like, we're not mad, we're just disappointed. What's up, everybody? I am Finn McKenty. This is the Punk Rock MBA, and today we are going to talk about the brand new Architect song called Animals. It's been a while since we've heard from them. They were the last hype metalcore band, I would say, if we're judging by like Reddit metalcore as the yardstick for that. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my personal thoughts on the song, a little bit of what the community reaction is, and then some kind of bigger picture thoughts on this from like a business and marketing perspective. Was this the right move for them? Did they make a mistake? Those are the questions that I will try to answer. And this is a little bit of an experiment as far as a new type of content for me. I've always been hesitant to do reviews per se, because that's kind of not really my thing. But at the same time, I do want to be part of the conversation. So let me know what you think about this and if I should do more videos like this. And before I get into it, really quickly, if you haven't yet checked out the Punk Rock MBA podcast, I would love it if you would do that. There's a link to that in the description. New episode every Monday. But let's start by talking about the song itself. And my overall take on it is that it's just, I don't know, it's just frustrating. Like, it's almost there, but not quite. Starts off with this cool kind of chug riff. Definitely takes things in a little bit more of like a groovy nu metal direction than what we're used to hearing from Architects, but that's not a bad thing, and it's pretty catchy. Kind of wondering, where is it gonna go from here? Is there gonna be a blah? There is no blah. From there, it goes right into what I would kind of categorize as a Bring Me the Horizon verse. And Bring Me the Horizon are a great band, so being compared to them is not a bad thing by any means. But that's where the frustration starts for me. There's nothing wrong with it by any means, and actually there's a lot of things that are right about it. For example, I think they did a very good job of integrating the synths and a lot of the electronic elements without being like in your face or like clumsy about it. Sam's vocals sound great. He's an outstanding singer for this genre. But what's missing is just that special something that really makes you remember a song and gets it stuck in your head. It feels like kind of a collection of parts to me that don't really have a lot of dynamics or payoff. 99% of the time, I think what makes a great song is a combination of three things. Number one, a great vocal melody as the hook. Number two, great lyrics in that vocal melody. And number three is the dynamics and arrangement that build up to that and make it feel like something really special. As a few examples of that, like Limp Bizkit, Nookie, Break Stuff, Rollin'. You can like or not like those songs. I absolutely hate that song Rollin' with like a burning passion. But probably everybody watching this video, as soon as I said that, was like, and that's what's missing from this song. That's what I kept waiting for in this song, and it just kind of never came. And that's true of pretty much all the metalcore bands that have taken this direction, as I have talked about endlessly. But the reason why it's so frustrating in this case is because I have higher expectations for Architects. I mean, they are a trendsetter in the genre, and so for them, just being good is kind of a disappointment. And I know that's unfair, and it might sound like I'm being critical, but actually it's only because I have so much respect for them. Not only as musicians, but as human beings too. They seem like great guys. I think they're a fantastic band, and I definitely want them to be successful, so by no means should any of this be construed as me shitting on them, as you guys like to say. But I want to be clear that I am an Architect supporter. So those are my thoughts on the song. I also wanted to talk about kind of the bigger picture, like business, marketing, strategic, meta kind of side of things as well. But first, let's see what the people think. The people over in Reddit Metalcore. I like it. Personally, I don't see a point to them beating the style Tom left behind to death. It's nice to see them make a solid attempt to figure out what the next stage of their lives as a band is. Holy Hell was great for what it is, but very hard not to compare to the two masterpieces that preceded it. I like it. After listening to Fireside by Invent Animate, as well as Loath's album, I've come to realize that there is space in this genre for songs with little to no screaming. Sam has a beautiful singing voice, and I'm glad he's using it more. If it was from another band, it would be a good song, but for me, there is not a lot of Architect sound in it. I get that bands change, so no flame. I'm still kind of unsure if this song will grow on me. This fucking bangs. I've been waiting for these guys to fuck around with synths for a while. Glad to see they pulled it off. If this is what the rest of the album was going to be like, I'm for it. I enjoyed it. Yes, it's different. Yes, it's not usual Architects, but honestly, I kind of expected this. These guys had the same sound for the last three records, so it was just a matter of time. However, I am sure that this is just a radio-friendly single to test the waters a bit. Can't wait for the new album nonetheless. So if I was to categorize the reaction as a whole, I would say, to use like Steam terms, mixed. Doesn't sound like anybody really hates it. Everybody agrees that it's pretty well done, but I'm also not seeing anybody like ranting and raving about it, saying like, holy shit, this is the best thing I've ever heard. And again, for most bands, I would say that is awesome. But we're not talking about most bands here, we're talking about Architects, one of the leading bands in the genre, which means that for better or for worse, the expectations for them are higher. So now let's talk about what this means from like a business and marketing and like strategy perspective. Like if I was the CEO of Architects Incorporated, like what would my feedback be for the team? Well, number one, as some of these comments said, I get that they had to do something. I mean, I guess they didn't have to, but they should do something. Like, to put out another Holy Hell, what's the point? I mean, they already did that, I think, as well as anybody could ever possibly do that style. Why would they do that again? But was this the right move to make? I mean, it kind of feels a little bit late to the game. Bring Me the Horizon did this in what, like 2012 or whatever? And there's all the other bands like Wage War and I Prevail and stuff that have kind of done something similar. And, you know, with all due respect to Wage War, a band like that really shouldn't be beating Architects to the punch. I think of it kind of like, let's say we had two kids. One kid is named Wage War, the other kid is named Architects. Now, Wage War is a C student, so if he gets a B on a test, that's great. We're like, hey, good job. Let's go celebrate with some pizza. But Architects is an A+ honor student, so if he brings his test home with a B on it, you're like, we're not mad, we're just disappointed. But with all of that being said, like, what should they have done instead? That's the part I don't really have a great answer for. I mean, on the one hand, they could go more pop, but again, Bring Me the Horizon kind of already did that. I mean, they have a song with Halsey. Probably gonna have a hard time doing that better than they did, right? What are the other options? I mean, they're not gonna go country. Probably don't want to become EDM overnight. I do like that there's some kind of industrial elements in this song, like the synths and that snare that has that real like clangy sample on top. They could have maybe taken that a little bit further, but if they did that, to be honest, I'd probably still be saying the same things. And so if they were to sit down with me and be like, all right, so you didn't love this song, what should we have done instead? I don't know that I would have had a great answer for them. I don't know, do a fucking dungeon synth record. But with that said, will this be successful commercially? Probably so. I mean, this is kind of the proven path for metalcore bands, right? Like they write some kind of middle of the road rock songs. They get airplay on Octane or whatever the UK equivalent of that is. And they move up a couple slots on the festivals that are still headlined by Papa Roach and Korn and the Scorpions. And if it does, I'm happy because like I said, they seem like great guys. I want them to be successful. But at the same time, I really just wish that they would take more chances. Like do something that's gonna shock and piss off the fans like when Bring Me the Horizon went full pop. People hated it. This feels like just a little bit behind the curve, a little bit just missing that special something. I give it a B+, which is not bad, but again, given that I have such high expectations and so much respect for Architects, to me, a B+ is still a little bit of a disappointment for them. All right, my friends, that's it for this video on the new Architect single, Animals. Let me know what you think of this song in the comments, and also if you would like me to do more videos like this one. I personally am excited about it, but I want to know what you guys think. Also, if you haven't, check out the Punk Rock NBA podcast. And as always, I want to thank everybody who supports us on Patreon. It is because of your support that we're able to do a lot of things, in particular the podcast. It is because of my patrons that I was able to hire a producer and editor who makes the whole thing happen. So thank you very much for your support. And if you would like to join us on Patreon, there's a link to that in the description as well. And with that, I'm going to sign off for now, but I will see you next time.